see my reflection in the snow-covered hills where the landslide bring it down? And if you see my reflection,
I don't see a reflection. I just see Linda Petterson.
Hey there.
Stevie Nicks, little play music in there, you know.
We like that.
We do. Linda Petterson, how are you doing on this first day of September? We are back in business.
Yes, we are.
I love our Food for Thought segment.
You know what? It's very enjoyable. It's very educational. And I'm proud to announce in all my classes.
Yep.
You know, please watch and use the podcast as training material for your employees.
Well, and that's, to me, it's so big. And even for me that's not in the industry, just to keep my family safe. I mean, chili cookouts are getting ready to start, all that good stuff. And today, no better time to talk about the cool down and reheating.
Oh, wasn't that a good... I'm so pleased with that one.
You know what's amazing? That we can just converse so long on food safety.
I know.
I mean, who would have thought? But whenever you have these great, individuals like yourself, Chef Lepage at Ford Hotel Supply, there's a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, there is. And I'm excited, looking forward to the next month's kitchen layout.
This is...
Yeah, it's going to be a little different. No demos, right? We're going to do a little round table with Ford Hotel Supply. Yeah, hi everybody.
Little Donnybrook action.
And so people can think about even when they're laying out their own kitchens.
Yeah.
Not just commercial. So I'm intrigued to see what they're going to say.
Now, just to preview this a little bit more, whenever you're looking at some of your friends, your clients' kitchen layouts, they're a little tight sometimes in this area, it seems like, where you got to utilize all the space you have to keep it efficient.
One of the big things I think in restaurants and dealing, and of course, Ford Hotel is an expert at this, and they'll tell us more, but in that preventing cross-contamination.
Huge.
When I went to the seminar and getting my HACCP certification.
Congratulations again.
Man. Chick-fil-A was a speaker at one of the seminars I attended, and they were on their 8th protocol for a kitchen layout. So this is something that's taken very seriously in the industry, and obviously at home too. So
well, and I think that is such a fascinating thing. I mean, it really is, because all those components add up to the overall health of your clients, your family.
Yeah, it really is so important, and we're finally taking notice. Paying attention more and more.
And that's the thing. I had someone ask me, because they were watching our segment, they go, now, when you're talking to Linda, does this seem like it just, everyone's eyes opened overnight? And it's like, well, maybe, Yeah,
the state, Illinois, is very rigid.
Yeah.
And very strong, which is what you want as a consumer, to have your health department on point, so to speak. And Illinois is for that. You go to Missouri and they're a lot more lax. They don't require or they don't enforce, but it's just different. Illinois, and then of course I stick in the area places that I've trained the people in the kitchen. Kind of makes it, a little more secure. Like this place.
Ooh, where are we at? Johnson's Corner, my favorite place. Monday, September the 18th. We're working 9 to 5 with Linda Petterson.
I know their food is safe because I've trained most of their employees. Not to mention they take pride and honor in hosting a class.
They do. And, just a huge shout out to them, too, because their catering has just taken off. I've had so many people on this show the last couple of weeks, Linda, that are going, I go, who's catering?
Johnson's Corner, huh?
There you go.
How awesome.
And, I think it's cool, though, and that's why I think your role is so important. And in all reality is you're training, the Johnson's employees, you're training, anyone in town's a lot of the times employees, and you're keeping us safe.
Anyone who's willing to listen.
Well, and a big takeaway, too, is we posted your classes coming up, and one individual commented how she learned so much from you, but a big takeaway I had is I was engaged. It wasn't that boring presentation and slideshow where it's like Charlie Brown's parents are talking to you.
Yeah, no, I'm not that. Never have been.
No.
Some people like that, some don't. But no, I'm more engaging. And I think it has to be with being a bartender for so many years and enjoying it. I like people. I love strangers.
Yeah.
I've always said that I think I like them better than the people I know. I don't know. They got something to tell me I've not heard before, perhaps.
Yeah.
But they're interesting. Everybody's got a story in their life. And if you're willing to take a moment to listen, They'll tell you lots of things.
And
that's what I learned as a bartender. Yeah.
Full-time bartender, part-time therapist. You know?
Yeah, kind of so.
Or vice versa, depending on the day.
Exactly.
Linda, take me through the other classes you got coming up.
Let's see. We've got the end of the month. I'm going to Effingham and Holiday Inn. I love Holiday Inn.
They're great people.
They have the best patty melt out there.
You were telling me that.
Oh, I do. I enjoy it. And not to mention, they have salmon and steak too, and it's a very good. The bar's too small, I've noticed, because it's always packed, because the convention center is attached to it.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So that's where I have my classes, also at the Holiday Inn. And they're so accommodating to me. So that's the end of the month, so I get make a 2-day trip out of that one. But it's the beginning of October.
You're on a grand tour.
Yeah, I am. We're, of course, starting out at Pleasant Plains in Springfield. It's, northwest of Springfield? Mm-hmm. The Greenery, ILBA member. So we're having a class there on the 2nd of October. Then the 9th, I start at my club in Rockford, Illinois, SL&SM Gentlemen's Club.
Interesting location.
Yeah.
We'll have more details.
Yeah, I hope so. If I make it back. But from there, from Rockford, I'm going to Rock Falls for a private class with Dee Holmes.
They're great people.
Oh, man.
Can I shout out Dee Holmes real
Please.
quick? Dee Holmes is one of the first people that responded. We started you guys don't know this yet, but breaking news. We started a new series that's coming out the end of September called Student Spotlight. We do Athlete of the Month, where we highlight athletes that are standouts. And this time we're going to add a component where we recognize the children that are excelling in the classroom, that don't have an interest in sports.
Yeah.
Dee Holmes was the first person to snatch these opportunities up and make sure that we can continue our mission in supporting them. So we want to welcome them on as our Student Spotlight sponsor, one of our first. And we still have 2 schools left if you want to call.
Oh, Dee Holmes. I'm telling you, 147 locations throughout the state of Illinois.
Wow.
I know. So I travel to Rock Falls to do classes. This will be about the 3rd or 4th time up there. I was just at Matson, Illinois to do a private class for them. But so while I'm up in Rock Falls, they said, Linda, can you go over to Quincy and do a private class? I went, wow. It's on my way home, right? So I'm going to Quincy then after the Rock Falls class. So it's going to be an 6-7 days I'll be gone. And yeah, enjoyable. I enjoy the classes. Then I come home and I thought I was going to have a little rest, but now we got one October 16th. It's a Monday in Jerseyville.
No, where's
I
this?
try to go up there. I've been trying to contact Kathy Smith at DJ's because I usually have them there. Mm-hmm. Nice room to itself, good Wi-Fi, and they serve us lunch, and they have a nice lunch there. So, but yeah, it's not for sure. But October 16th.
Can I ask you a question now that you mentioned lunch? You ever get paid by Subway?
Do I get? Oh, no.
Just want to point that out, pay your bill. It just bothers me. It really did.
I'm not happy.
It still
I've been trying
bothers
to
me.
do something about that too, and I just beside myself without putting up a picket sign in front of his place in Bethalto.
Well, and I'm not. I never like to do that, but
No,
I think it's
either.
not fair to you. And I really just wanted to ask you that question. Didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Thank you.
Pay your bill,
Yes.
please.
So then after I'm going to back to Breeze, Illinois.
I love Breeze.
Turf Bar.
They're
Great
good.
place, great food, and that'll be a Tuesday, the 24th of October.
You are just busy.
And then now, on the way in the door, Miss Jennifer Dam, is that pronounced Dam? She is the head honcho for the other Subway I do business with that pays their bills. HS Management is that company. And she says, let's do a Saturday class. So we're going to come up with a Saturday class here next month in September in Carlinville.
Really cool.
We don't know the date or the where. So for the people who work during the week, have regular jobs, and people have side hustles all the time, here will be another Saturday class. I just had one at the Moose in Wood River.
I was going to ask you how your birthday class went.
Oh, it was fun. It's a lot more fun afterwards. Right?
I was going to ask. You know what's funny is
There was all these drink chips.
I went, should I call Linda and see if she's still up there? And I thought, well, CJ, you got all this to do. And I went, I'll just have to get lunch with Linda later time.
I was wondering if you were available today.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go get lunch.
Okay.
There we go. Hey, deal.
Yeah.
We're good. With that being said, Linda, I just think that you're an amazing individual. And to me, here's why. I mean, you and I are honest with each other.
Yeah.
You've told me I only got so many years left on this planet, and you're making the most of them and working your ass off.
I'm enjoying it till that's what's amazing. Then I get to buy things. I got my used John Deere tractor, and I'm happy.
You are just amazing. And by the way, before I take a break and we get Chef Lepage on and we go take a trip to St. Louis, I got to ask you about Bella. You posted a video the other day, Linda, of the cutest damn thing.
Bella, my love.
What show was your dog watching?
America's Got Talent.
No way.
And it was Hurricane that won last week. She is in love with Hurricane. We were amazed, Bob and I, at her reaction. And then I showed the video on my computer to my friend that comes over, Donna. Bella went nuts again. She practically, in fact, she did jump up on the bar stool that I have in the kitchen to get closer to the computer, to get closer to that dog. I wish America's Got Talent would view this video. It's hilarious.
We got to hook Bella up with Hurricane.
Yes, we do.
I think that's the bottom line. Hey, Linda, before we take a quick break and we go to Ford Hotel Supply, without you and your support and so many other support, the show wouldn't be on the air. I mean, we hit 100,000 people almost this month alone in viewers. And so
that's wonderful.
I think it's funny. They go, well, your competitors. I don't have competitors. I just do my own thing. We keep moving.
That's it.
But one of the last things I got to do today to take care of a little bit of business is recognize Lisa Webb. Lisa Webb is a really, really good real estate agent because she doesn't look at you as a commission check. I don't know if you've been in the sales market such a long time. Those type of salespeople that kind of,
Sure, I do.
Hey, how are you? And then once you're kind of done, they wipe their hands clean and they find the next client. Lisa Webb doesn't do that. She's your advocate. And what I like is she does foreclosure. She does short selling. She's going to go into the foxhole with you if you're in, financial stress or in that type of situation. And she's going to advocate for you, be your educator in this situation, and put you on the best path forward for you and your family. If you're buying, selling for the first time like I did, I closed with $500 down. Think about that. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that is.
You can do it too. And she will help you. Lisa Webb and her team, woman-owned, family-operated, 3rd Street Realty, 3rdstrealty.com. We're coming back when we're live from Ford Hotel Supply next.
Welcome to Evergreen Place, a community that embodies joyful living, independence, and financial freedom for seniors. If you're looking for a full day of activities or to relax in your apartment, we have you covered. Located on the Alt Memorial campus. To know us is to love us. Experience the difference at Evergreen Place.
Is it time to buy, sell, or even time to consider a short sale of your property? Meet Lisa Webb, owner of 3rd Street Realty. This local, women-owned, family-operated realty group has over a decade of experience in foreclosures, first-time home buying, and so much more. 3rd Street Realty prides themselves on holding your hand through the entire process. Let their expertise guide you to your dream home. Visit 3rdstrealty.com and start your journey with Lisa Webb today.
Do you need to declutter your space? Time to call me, the Queen of Junk. Since 1993, we have grown to be the leader in residential, commercial, and property management junk removal. At Sparks Junk Removal, we are eco-friendly. We recycle, donate, or repurpose items back into our community. Trash is our last resort to the landfill. Plus, with our all-inclusive service, our crews handle everything from labor to lifting and landfill fees. Give us a call or visit our website, sparksjunkremoval.net, to reclaim your space today.
With over 20 years of experience, Wilson's Tree Service has the expertise to handle all of your tree care needs. Licensed and fully insured, their team of experts are dedicated to providing reliable service. Plus, with a 24-hour emergency service line, Wilson's will always be there for you. Don't risk tackling that timber by yourself. Trust the local professionals at Wilson's Tree Service. Visit treeservicealtonil.org to get started today.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com. Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
right here on RiverBender.com with the one, the only, Linda Petterson, Chef Lepage. How are we doing today, folks?
Great. And great, CJ.
You know, somewhat.
You're a solid A minus.
This is really great. So we took a break because I had a little bit of, death to deal with, and Linda Petterson and I kind of did our own thing, but we missed you, man.
I missed you guys for sure, yeah.
So you were on vacation, you got a lot of things happening.
Vacation, new school year for my son, a baby on the way, all kinds of crazy stuff happening in my life.
And food for thought on the first Friday.
And food for thought, of course, yeah.
So today, because I'm a little bit, not going to lie to you guys, transparency, in the dark, what are we learning about today?
Yeah, so we're going to learn about the three main things that are very important in food production. It's thawing, reheating, and proper cooling procedures of food. So lots of information today, but really, really important information, not just for restaurants, but for yourselves at home, because we all have seen the mistakes that are being made. They might have slipped by, but now we're going to straighten everything out with how things are supposed to be done.
Yes, and it's very important because we want to save our families' lives too.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just for work in the restaurant business and because somebody might sue us. Or shit if we have a family member. Or how about the church?
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, we are always involved in those things.
Yeah, and what's great about this video podcast is we do the commercial side, we do the residential side. We help everybody out to help serve great food.
Now,
healthy food.
Safe
food.
Not to kind of jump in here, but when we took your class, Linda, I remember learning that maybe a lot of our grandmas may or may not have almost killed us for a long period of time.
Yeah, I might have when I was younger. As far as that goes, you know, take something out of the freezer and just throw it in the sink overnight, right? And then when you get up in the morning, and then when you get up in the morning, you put it in the refrigerator so Mom would have something to cook when she came home. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Happened all the time.
Yeah.
And then we got safe. We put in a pan of water.
Yeah.
Thought that was safe.
Safe.
But today, Chef Michael Lepage is going to discuss what is safe.
Yeah. So first we'll start with the thawing process. You know, stuff we do at home almost on a nightly basis to get ready for the next day. Busy parents, busy people with their work lives. How to properly thaw food that's either taken out of the freezer or you purchase frozen. So there's four main ways to properly thaw food. So the first way, which is probably the most popular way. It's, in my opinion, the best way, but it's also the most time-consuming way, is just take it out of your freezer, put it in a refrigerator.
Yes, that is the best way.
Yeah, it's the best way.
Like you said, you got to plan ahead.
Exactly, yeah. It takes the longest because you're going from freezing temperatures to now refrigerated temperatures, so it's going to take a little bit longer.
A turkey?
I like it. A turkey,
4 days, maybe?
Yeah, depending
on
how big.
Yeah, so...
The other thing I like about this way is it keeps the integrity of the food, I think, a little bit better than the other options. So take it out of your freezer or your deep freeze, whatever you're using to freeze your food, put it right into your refrigerator, no in-between time on a counter, directly into your refrigerator. Put it in a pan or something, or a little cookie tray, sheet tray, so that if there's any condensation that comes off, it doesn't make a mess of your refrigerator. Or if you're dealing with poultry, chicken, things like that, you're not having chicken juice.
Cross-contamination going on.
Exactly, yeah. So you want to limit that as much as possible.
So you don't put it in a pan that's full of water in the refrigerator.
Correct. You do not. Just take your chicken breast package out, put it right onto a plate or onto a cookie tray, and put it right into the refrigerator.
And not to put you guys on the spot, but I've always been fascinated by this. When did this nuance, of thawing and not putting it in the pan, when did all this start taking place? Was this before your time in the kitchen?
Yeah. I mean, I think stuff like this have always been around since freezers have been around, trying to take shortcuts on how to, if something is frozen, how to make it go much, much faster.
Sure.
Now, what we've learned through science and studies is that some ways are not the best way. So the best way we feel, or I feel personally, and I think Linda would agree with me, is freezer to refrigerator.
Yes.
I think the next best way is under running water. So now this is where we see a lot of mistakes. It's people will take something out and they'll just put it in a bowl of water or a container of water and say, "See you later. We'll be fine."
See you at lunch.
Yeah. Or even worse, they're in a rush. They crank up the heat on the hot water and they put it underneath there to melt, to thaw it out very quickly.
Or let me talk about my neighbor, Kim Tucker.
Shots fired.
Call her out.
I am Kim Tucker. She told me that she takes her chicken out of the freezer and put it outside the sun so it thaw quicker.
Yeah, I don't recommend
Scared
that.
me.
Yeah.
So before I would go eat at her house anymore, I said, "You're going to take my class." And so guess what? She did.
And hopefully she's not doing that anymore.
And have you been
you're
sick at eating at Kim's house?
Not yet. I can't tell you what. She still kind of scares me.
But for other reasons, not for thawing it out. Yeah. So,
Quick question. Microwave. I gotta ask you about this because a lot of young kids, I'm seeing them and they decide, maybe throw the whole frozen piece of chicken in there and then completely thaw it that way. Is that?
So there's a couple different ways. So that's our next step.
Oh,
so you're
sorry, I'll
jumping
wait.
the gun just a hair. So under running cold water. So put your product in a bowl or in a plate or something where the water can overflow in a sink so you're not making a mess. The water has to be 70 degrees or lower. Okay.
On the
Can't be
test,
above.
by the way,
Yeah,
guys.
that's a big one on the
70 degrees or lower, not above.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it has to be continually running.
Yes.
And the reason for that is it keeps the water fresh. It keeps the temperature as stabilized as possible and keeps it going down faster.
I never thought, because stagnant water's never a good thing to begin with.
Exactly, yeah.
Why would you put your food in that?
Absolutely.
Makes
so
sense.
keep the water running. Keep it running.
Mosquitoes breed and stuff.
Yeah, and by the time if it is thawed out, that water starts heating up, and now your food's getting hot. So it's not not ideal to do that. So running water 70 degrees or lower.
Mm-hmm.
Now to your point, there's the other way is microwaving, but the only way you can properly in the test officially thaw out properly through microwave is if you cook it immediately after microwaving.
Okay.
So your friend, you have a raw chicken breast that's frozen, you put it in there, you defrost it because there is a defrost button on your microwaves, and that's
And it
perfectly
works.
fine. Yeah, it's perfectly fine.
It works.
There's a defrost button, but that's not a cooking button. So defrost it and then immedially cook afterwards.
Okay, so
that's
there's
the
no
thawing.
wait out time or set out
There is
time.
not a wait out time or set out time. So
Yeah.
with those meals, those like chicken breasts, or our fourth way is immediately cooking it. So from frozen to cooked finished product. So your frozen meals that you microwave for 5 minutes in there, they get very hot. That's accomplishing that in a microwave. Or like the example I like to give is a lot of times you buy bags of really tiny shrimp for pasta dishes or something like that are frozen. Instead of thawing them out, you can just throw them in a pan, frozen, saute them up, and it's part of the cooking process. So it goes from frozen to proper temperature in a very short amount of time.
Or a thin hamburger patty.
Exactly.
God,
quick and
yeah.
easy.
Just toss it on that grill.
Yeah, within 5-6 minutes, it's up to the proper temperature for eating, and you're not running into any issues.
Yeah.
You're running it through that temperature danger zone very, very fast.
Gotcha. That makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah.
So those are the 4 main ways of thawing. So straight in the refrigerator, freeze the refrigerator.
The
best, but the longest.
Yes.
The longest time-wise. Under running water, 70-degree water or below. Constantly running until it is fully thawed, and then you can take it out and put it in your refrigerator for holding.
Yes.
In a microwave, only if you're going to eat it immediately after.
Okay.
So defrost button, take it out, put it in a saute pan or on a grill, and then as part of the cooking process. So cooking from frozen to edible, safely edible food in the same process within a short amount of time.
Very simple.
Yeah,
Really.
it really
You
is.
just got to follow.
Yeah, that's it.
You gotta
And
follow.
that means you got to actually kind of plan your day a little bit too. You can't just go home and go, that frozen chicken breast sounds good. Let's cook that for about 30 minutes from now.
Exactly.
That'd be a little bit tough.
So it's part of getting in a routine at home, or
Yeah.
even in a restaurant kitchen.
Yeah.
You have to get into that routine of taking product out of the freezer, putting it in your walk-in, making sure it's ready for service whenever that is.
Now,
So-
have you ever had an experience, and maybe for both of you guys, Linda, in your class and Chef, and your experience, where you run out of a product during the day? We only have frozen left.
Yeah.
What's that first step? Because you can't just put it in the fridge. You got to keep serving.
Yeah, so there's different, and that's what the 3 options are for.
yeah.
That makes sense.
So we would usually always go to running water.
Is that what
Yeah,
you're called?
that's what ours was always to running water. And then we would try and split it up if it was smaller packages. Instead of having them all in one sink under running water, we'd separate them out so that we felt it did it a little bit faster.
Is that where you're running water, Linda, or were you a microwave if you guys had to keep running where
You
you're
mean in
at?
my food safety classes?
Yeah.
I don't know if we ever did an experiment.
Oh, there you go.
Not in the class.
Not yet, at least, right?
Maybe we will.
Ideas are flowing right now on this Friday morning. So we got the thawing stage. You know what? If you have time, I just like the idea of putting it in the fridge and letting it sit.
Sure.
Safe.
Safe, keeps the integrity of the
Safe.
food a
You know,
little
it's
bit
like
more.
going
Yeah.
the speed limit. You know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Safe.
Not exciting, but safe.
You know, exactly. So, but with this, I mean, there's so much to look at. There's the freezing process, all that, the cooling process. what's up next? You know?
Yeah, so I think we'll go to proper cooling.
Proper cooling.
Yeah, food. So we defrosted the food, we cooked it, and now maybe we don't need to serve all that much, but the food's still fine. You can serve it another day, or have it for leftovers the next day. And there's different ways to properly cool food, from hot food to your refrigerated temp of under 41 degrees.
Yes.
So
it's very important.
We've talked about this before when we did thermometers. Temperature danger zone.
Temperature danger zone.
That's what we're trying to avoid here. In that temperature danger zone is when bacteria grows and accumulates the most. In certain temperatures, it can do twice as fast, 3 times as fast. But in that temperature danger zone is where you want to limit as much time the food is in. So you want to be above 135 degrees or below 41 degrees. So the temperature danger zone, 41 to 135. That's the danger zone. Right?
Then between 70 and 100 is when pathogens will double in size in 10 minutes.
Yes.
Oh, so that's a real vulnerable time, 70 to 100. Which is our temperature.
Yeah.
So pathogens love to get on us, and they really multiply fast.
Absolutely.
So we got to really watch that time zone there the most.
Correct. And so there's a couple different tricks and trades, tricks of the trade to do to create that balance, that speed that goes through. The issue is a lot of people don't think they work as fast, or they don't practice them. They'll just take something hot, put it in the freezer real quick, and that just ruins not only the product because you're not cooling it down fast enough, but it also creates heat in the refrigerator or the freezer, so you're dropping that temperature, so you're affecting
compromising
food
all the
and you're creating condensation and freeze over and stuff like that. So you can have a lot of issues with that.
I'm so glad I'm not in the restaurant, because I would have ruined everybody's refrigerator. I'm like, let's throw this in there. And now,
so we have a lot of tools here. And this one's going to be kind of right in my face all the time.
Linda, I thought of you immediately. I thought of a buoy in the river when I saw it.
So there's different terms for this. This brand is called a Rapid Cool. So what it is just a container you put water in, you fill it up to the line, and then you throw it right into your freezer. And what happens is this becomes a frozen cylinder. And so when you have hot products like a stock, a soup, chili, a stew of some sort, something, you're going to put it in your Cambro square right here, and then it's going to be very hot. You're not going to want to throw it into the refrigerator or the freezer to cool down, because it's not going to cool down fast enough. So what you'll do is you'll take a frozen stick, put it in there, and then what we would do to even cool it faster is we would put this whole container in an ice bath. So ice and water, lots of ice, lots of water.
Would do it quick.
And we would get it cooled down in 15 minutes from 4 gallons of soup or stock or something to under 41 degrees.
Wow, that's awesome.
20 minutes or so with this method.
Now, do you move this at all?
You can, and that's the great thing. Every time somebody would walk by my kitchen, they would stir it up a little bit. And because what you want is you want to create as much surface area touching cold.
Gotcha.
So with this process, you have the inside surface area of the product touching the cold frozen stick, and then you have the outside touching the ice bath that's on the outside. So it's one of those things where it's like, this is like the perfect example for it. Now, things you need this product. The good news about this product, they're great, they're affordable.
They're not that much money, though, are they?
You take them out, you wash them, you put them right back in your freezer.
They look pretty durable, too.
Yeah, it's very durable, a high-quality plastic, but you just wash them off, sanitize them, put them right back in the freezer, and you're using them the next day.
Did you guys hear that? Can you hit that again? That's what's going on in my head like 9 times out of 10.
So they have all different sizes. So this one's good for the 22-quart Cambro squares. This one's good for the 12-quart or up to 18-quart, however you want to do it. So great tool. Now, does everyone have these tools? No, obviously. So we have to figure out other ways to do it. So another way we would do it is same thing with an ice bath and a sink, and then you would get your shallow containers, like a 4-inch Cambro food pan. Clear, doesn't matter. I always like to clear. So you would put your product in here, put this in an ice bath, and then have a whisk with it. And what's happening again is your ice bath, the point of contacts for the cold are all around the edges, and with your whisk, you're taking it and moving that product around. So you're still cooling down very, very rapidly. You're cooling down safely, and it's smaller batches, so it would cool faster.
And everybody's got these.
Everyone's got these, yeah. It could be plastic, it could be metal. I like the plastic because it's clear. You can see through it a little bit easier. You can. I just like the visual.
But we do learn in class that stainless steel will transfer heat faster than plastic will.
It will, but not cold. It won't. The studies have shown that plastic and cold cooling is the same between metal and plastic.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I learned something today.
So
that's why we do the segment.
Yeah, and a lot of restaurants you'll see will prefer metal metal in their sandwich rails or something because they feel it gets colder faster. And the numbers are so negligible that plastic is the same. It's much cheaper, and you don't get what we call like metal poisoning or acid poisoning. If you have high acid items in metal, that metal flavor can go into the food itself.
I gotta change my slideshow.
Yeah.
I gotta change my slideshow now.
But I mean, that to me, what's the hardest thing to cool down? When you guys were in the kitchen, your experience, what is the hardest thing?
Thick things,
Like
so
chili
like
and
giant meats, like roasts and stuff.
Oh.
So that you have to get really creative. And what we would do is something similar to this, putting it in here in an ice bath, and then we would like dome it a little bit, so any air that would get caught in there would get caught and put cold air would be put on the product.
Yeah.
So those tend to be the hardest. If you can, the smaller you break it down, the faster it's going to cool.
Of course.
As well.
Or the more surface area.
Area touching.
That will help it cool down.
With a roast or something, you can't really stir it around to create more contact points. So you just have to get a little bit more creative with how you're cooling stuff down. So ice. I mean, I've even done like Ziploc bags frozen with water and put them on like pork loins or something like that to help them cool them down a little bit faster. So it's similar to that, but just smaller size of it. Yeah. So all different kinds of options you can do, but the goal is to get it through that temperature danger zone as fast as possible.
They say you have 6 hours.
Yeah.
But as I teach in my class, and as you will tell us here, I'm sure, that's too long.
Yeah.
That's just too long.
It shouldn't take you 6 hours to cool a product down.
No.
That's a half a day-ish. That's half a day of service or something. So
yeah, without a doubt. Well, and too, I mean, who has and that's where you start worrying, because to me, I'm a thinker. Yeah. So if I'm going, I don't know, that's sitting out for 6 hours. Now the whole shift, I'm going, there's a chance.
Well, and that's it. You start teaching your staff that, you have 6 hours. Well, they're not going to do this. They're just going to put the container on. It's like, well, I have 6 hours. It'll cool down in 6 hours. Yeah. And then I'll just throw it into the cooler and it'll be fine. It's like, well, that 6 hours is a little bit different because within 2 hours, you need to get it below 70 degrees. So like Linda had said, above 70 is where the pathogens, like every 10 minutes they double.
They double in size.
So you need to get it from above 141 to below 70 within the first 2 hours of cooling. And then the next 4 hours, you can bring it below the 41 degrees. Sorry, I said 141, I meant 135. Above 135 to 70, and then below 41.
The temperatures have changed through time, but unless you go to Florida, it's still higher.
That's the Wild West out there. Florida's a different world.
Well, that's true. That's a good point. But I think it's important though to highlight this because I mean, whether or not you're cooking for a group or for your family, I mean, we all have those special occasions. Yeah. And whether or not you're cooking for your church group, for your restaurant, for your kids, I mean, it's good to know that because no one wants to worry about getting somebody sick because of something that's easily avoidable.
Yeah, and we all eat leftovers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We're all eating leftovers. I'm probably having leftovers for dinner tonight from a restaurant or from what we cooked before, and it still matters to properly cool stuff. Now, do kitchens at home have these sticks like this?
They should. I want one.
They should, but you know what works? A 2-liter bottle with a cap on it with water in it. Works just as fine. So there's options you can do at home if you do like big batches of tomato sauce, big batches of chili during the winter, and you want to freeze them and quart them up for later on. You still have to cool that down properly, and there's different ways to do that.
I did not. I'm learning. This is actually one of the most I've learned on a Food for Thought lately.
You keep on saying that. We're blowing your mind.
I know. I'm just kind of like in it for the duration now. Yeah. I'm learning with you. So we got to cool down. We had some other. What are we left with? We got to heat up.
Yeah, proper heating now. So there's different ways to proper heat. You want to go as fast as possible through that temperature danger zone. So now with cooling, we were above 135 to below 41. Now for heating, we're below 41 to get it to above 135. But there's also different temperatures and different times that you have to stabilize the food for in order for them to be safe. So it's 165 degrees instantly. It used to be different a couple years ago, but now it's instantly. So once you get it to 165, the food is ready to serve. And now there's increments, 155 for 17 seconds.
Went up from 15 seconds to 17.
And then
145 stayed the same at 15 seconds. So that means the thermometer has to hold that temperature for 15 seconds.
Yes.
In order for you to serve it properly.
And that's for reheating. Okay. So it's one of those things where if you're going to cook a burger to mid-rare, that's not going to get up to 165. But there's also those disclaimers on every menu that eating undercooked or raw food can cause those things. So there are different rules and things like that. But where you see this a lot is with our soups, our stocks, our sauces, our chilies. You want to make sure they're hot, not just for consumption. A soup should be hot, but you want to make sure they're safe. So the way we would do it, the best way we would find is, it's a little bit tedious, it's a little bit more labor intensive, but on a stove, pretty low heat, but you're getting it heated up and you're constantly stirring it. So what you're wanting to do is heat it up fast through the temperature danger zone, not burn the product because you don't want to throw it away. Right? You don't want to throw it away. And then once you get it up to temperature, proper holding to keep temperature. So for soups, we would heat up to 165 for the 1 second, and then we put it in a hot water bath for service that would keep it above the 145 at that time we were testing it out to 145.
So that hot water is just to keep it warm.
Yeah, that's to maintain the temperature, to keep it warm, and then we would
just
restock
like a buffet table.
That's right,
something.
a
steam table.
Holding, and now what they go by is 135.
Yeah.
And you have to maintain that 135. If something happens, that product goes below 135, then you have to take it off the buffet, put it in another pan, and then you reheat it to 165 before you could put it back on the buffet.
You have to do the process all
So that means you should temperature check things every couple hours.
Absolutely.
So that way you have time to heat it back up to 165 to put back on the buffet.
Correct, yeah. So there's two options with that, with the hot holding, is check it very frequently, or do less amount and then just reheat new fresh product out so you're not running the risk.
Yes.
If you do less volume, it's going to maintain temperature and not lose temperature much as fast as you would do a larger volume of food.
It just seems like you got to be proactive in your kitchen.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're ahead of the game and just organized, this process is pretty simple.
That's all it is. It's organization, and it's building steps into your daily activity. It's building the process. It's building the routine of it. So when we would walk into our restaurants, one of the first things we would do is get all the stuff that we needed to reheat up from the day before. So soups of the day, things like that. We would heat those up first because we knew it took a little bit slower time, and then we would stir it and continually work it throughout the morning. And then when lunch service was ready, we'd put it on the steam table or in the bain marie and get it ready going and maintaining temperature so it's ready to serve. So it's just about building the steps of service, your process within your kitchen or even within your home. So it does sound like a lot. These are things that most kitchens should be doing in some capacity, some doing better than others. But
that's true.
Yeah, but it's that constant training, that constant conversation with your employees, not just of how to do it, but the why behind it. And it's not
so
the
they
why.
remember.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the why of, well, we just don't want to get people hurt. That's the main reason, of course, but there's a lot of different things that trickle down if you don't properly heat, thaw, or cool food down.
Well, and when you're explaining it like that, where you're going, hey guys, we have to have it at this temperature for this amount of time, we have to watch this, it's a little bit more in depth and not micromanaging, going, we're keeping people safe. Well, no, here's why we're doing that, because it's got to hit 165 or we're in this waiting zone and this is dangerous.
Correct.
That's great.
The why behind the
So if you listen to our podcast, you get why behind everything.
Exactly. Sometimes you don't want it, but we're giving it to you.
Regardless, it's coming your way, you know? So Linda, can I ask you something?
Sure.
What's the most dangerous? Is it the reheating period? Is it the cool down period? For your mind, when can more problems start?
Oh, Jesus.
I don't know if he has anything to do with this, but we'll ask.
Would you say cooling down?
For me, the cooling is probably the most dangerous. Yeah, and the one that gets overlooked the most, because you can, if you have a pot of something on there and you're reheating it, you can always heat it up fast. It's always a fast thing to do. Adding heat is easy. Removing heat is very difficult.
I have broken that rule. I guess now when you guys said that, you said, but you can't put that warm food, don't just throw that into your refrigerator or freezer. I don't know how I haven't gotten sick, as I've done that a couple of times. I'm going to be honest.
Just luck. Play the lottery.
Well, I mean, it's good to know that, though, because if I'm doing that decision, there's probably a lot of us that have been doing that, and it's something to be mindful of.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm learning so much on this.
So I think we would agree cooling down is probably the most dangerous or most important aspect of the things we've talked about today. And that's just because it's maybe a little bit more time consuming, a little bit more hands-on, but it's honestly the most important in my opinion.
Well, Can I say why I think it's cooling down today? Because we're taping this in the middle of hell's front porch. It is 110 degrees out. No, but in all seriousness, we are taping during the heat wave, so we're up here at Ford Hotel Supply, and I mean, just to be able to come out here and talk about these things because school's starting, you're getting kids' lunches made, you're getting their after game stuff made, team dinners, all that stuff is so important to talk about. Without a doubt.
And just, just school service in general, like, the parents are trusting school districts to serve lunch and healthy food to their kids. Not just healthy and nutritional value, but healthy and safe for the students and for the children. So these are very important steps to keep those kids safe, healthy, staying in school.
My mom and dad wants them in school.
It's been a long summer. So there's a lot of different aspects to the importance of why we practice these trips.
So I think we learned quite a bit here today.
I'm telling you, my mind's blown because first of all, I just thought we just started this segment. Why are we wrapping it up? But that's because I think I took in too much information this time. But with that being said, Linda Petterson, in the month of September, where will you be at?
Oh, Mike Johnson's Corner. I'm back to our favorite place, September 18th on Monday. And then Holiday Inn in Effingham, September 25th. But I get a little break. I'm going to the Illinois Beverage Association convention in the 1st of September in Rock Island, I believe it is.
Absolutely.
So they don't talk about so much food safety, but there is a lot of things dealing with the restaurant industry that we do about gaming and drinking, which is very important.
I do that too. Sorry.
And I kindly represent a lot of the food safety, and they use me a lot within the organization. So I get to spend 4 days there, and I'm excited, a little laid back, hospitality suite,
Ooh, fancy.
They open up early and close late.
That's a good conference,
So that's where I'll be on the road in October. I got some more on the road that we'll talk about next month.
Perfect. And then Chef Lepage, any products coming out that you want to fill us in?
No new products. These are still brand new. These new Canberra squares.
They're nice.
These are great. They come with a brand new lid, a more ergonomical handle for better pouring and better storage and on shelving. So just keep a lookout. Follow me on CMA. Chef Michael _CMA or CMA Food Service on Instagram. We post all of our new products, and then we also love to shout out restaurants that are using our products or facilities that are using our products around the St. Louis area, Illinois, Iowa, Kansas, and Nebraska. So follow us there, give us a like, and we'll shout you out.
There you go. Okay.
And of course, you can see CJ and hear him on and see him on RiverBender.com daily.
Monday through Friday.
Everybody knows CJ.
Until they run me out of town. No. So with that being said, all of you have a great, safe weekend. Go to safefoodspecialist.com to sign up for upcoming classes. But most importantly, just try your best to stay out of jail.
One way to take it back to the life he once knew. Oh, yes, he did. He said it